Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm, and it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in on this beautiful Monday afternoon. Jason, better get him away. Now, here's the thing. If I do that, then you can't see Professor. Okay, now you could see him, so I can't put that other configuration. All right, you know, when you got this handsome white hair man in the studio, you got to make sure you can see him.
Exactly.
Professor.
Yes, sir.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well today. It's rather hot, but...
Well, I ain't complaining because I don't like cold weather.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I'd rather be a little warm than it be cold, because when it's cold, I can't get warm.
That is in here, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's a little hot out there, but it's fine in here.
Yeah, well, I did turn off the AC, but I guess at some point I'll turn it back on and have it swing up so it doesn't blow directly on me.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so you all know the drill. Every Monday around these parts, we talk about the Constitution of the Bahamas. And this is why we call this the Masterclass on the Constitution. And nobody better to lead us through this discussion than the one and only Sydney McArthur Walter Thompson, Professor Thompson, who is a well-versed man when it comes to the Constitution of the Bahamas. And what he does every Monday around these parts is we go through this document bit by bit, line by line, to help our audience better understand the Constitution of the Bahamas. And I dare say, Professor, that, boy, do we really need these classes now? And we see all this discussion going on, eh?
Yes, you're quite right.
Are you, now, this microphone kind of far from him.
Okay.
So we need to, I think, bring it up a bit so that it can be closer to his mouth. Yeah, and then tilt it down towards, not too much. There you go. It's a little better.
Yeah, okay.
Professor Mann, I hearing all kind of things about waiting for the Privy Council to decide on citizenship matters and you know, all kind of people talking about constitutional rights and all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
What you think about all of that?
You know, I'm glad you asked that because I'm delighted to see that after 56 years, many people are waking up to realize that we do have a constitution. That's point number one.
Right.
Point number two, the interest is very high.
Right.
That people want to know whether we will continue with the democracy that we have as it stands today with the death of Her Majesty the Queen, the ascension of Prince Charles as King Charles III,
Right.
internal pressures on the Bahamian people and external pressures on the Bahamian people and the government. All of these factors have come together to pressurize us, to wake us up that something is drastically needed in the national life of the Bahamian people. So I'm delighted to hear the discussion, but in the midst of all the discussion, there's tremendous misinformation.
It seems so.
There is, because those who are talking about the Constitution, or purporting to be talking about the Constitution, these are supposed to be educated persons who ought to know better. I listen to a number of personalities on the radio, and those personalities know absolutely nothing about the Constitution. Because see, when people ask questions, people ask them questions they can't even answer. So I don't blame them for the fact that they don't know. This has been a run for 56 years, but I am delighted to see that people are beginning to question things in this country. And I always say to people, don't ask me about any opinion on the Constitution. You ask me, what does the Constitution say? That's a whole different kettle of fish altogether.
See, this is where I get a little confused, because how is it that we could be relying on the ruling of the Privy Council on a matter of the rights to somebody for citizenship when our Constitution is very clear on the matter?
It is.
So if the Privy Council makes a ruling that goes against our Constitution,
I'm glad you put that
who's
forward.
supreme here? The Privy Council or the Constitution?
Privy Council.
So why are we going through all of this?
It's utter foolishness and nonsense. There's nothing supreme about the Privy Council. The Privy Council can make a ruling, as I said to our gentleman right here. I said to him, you can have three things. One, it could be a ruling in accordance with the Constitution.
Right.
It could be a ruling contrary to the Constitution, or it can be their legal opinion of the law. The courts do not have any authority to make law. Let's get that point straight. Because sometimes people get all mixed up, and there was a whole lot of confusion when a judge sitting on a bench made a ruling and caused an agency to state to get in a tizzy, and you had a whole army of people rushing down there saying they want this, they want that. And it was just an opinion made by the particular judge sitting on the bench. Just as good as the woman in Baintown who has 5 boys, the man in Foxville with 6 girls, the woman in Eggleston with 4 disabled children. Opinions are different from law. And people need to understand that courts cannot make law. And there are specific references in the Constitution where certain articles, and we got to check every single one of those citizenship articles, which would tell us whether they can only be changed by a referendum. Okay? So these are things we need to understand. And I heard a remark made by the Prime Minister, say they will go by the ruling of the Privy Council. Now, that's what he said. But we always have to understand the Constitution is supreme, and it saddens me that the government of the Bahamas doesn't seem to understand that. Because he said at one point that, talking about this illegal immigration, a treaty that we are bound to. Bound to what treaty? What treaty is that? He didn't explain that. The only thing that we are bound to is the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. That's what people need to understand. Because a lot of these international agreements that have been signed, and treaties, and this and that and the next thing, Article 2 of your Constitution says any other law. Do we understand what that means? Any other law that is inconsistent with this Constitution shall prevail. And it doesn't seem the government understands that. Because they don't make any reference to the Constitution. They make reference to some other thing that some other people wrote, which we didn't have any input into it. I can certainly say that.
You're talking about these international treaties.
These international treaties and these international agreements, the Bahamian people know nothing about them.
Right.
But people just sitting around a table listening to some other people say some things to them, and they sign on the dotted line and say they're signing on behalf of the Bahamian people. These things ought to be brought to the attention of the Bahamian people And that is where we get all confused and knotted up, and people get in a tizzy. There's tremendous confusion. You have all kinds of things being said, as is happening right now in our Constitution about this proposed ruling that the Privy Council is to be making.
Mhm.
And it will remain to be seen what they say. And remember now, it's a ruling. It's a decision.
Right.
Because they went to the Privy Council. The Privy Council is the highest court in the land.
Right.
But the court could make a ruling contrary to the Constitution. That is quite possible.
So are you suggesting to me that if we don't know or understand that the Constitution is the highest
The highest
law of the land,
law of the land, yes.
that we are in danger of violating our Constitution because of a particular decision that is passed down by a high court?
That is possible. Yes, ma'am. That is quite possible. Because see, what has happened, if you look at it objectively, you're going to find that certain personalities are swayed in one direction or the other,
Mhm.
which will not necessarily be in the best interest of the Bahamian people.
Okay.
So you listen to the ruling, you respect the ruling, but you have to agree with it. You have to agree with the ruling. Because we have to check thoroughly to see whether those articles, and I'm going to have to double check and triple check it again,
Mhm.
but I am convinced as I sit here that those articles can only be changed by a referendum. And once the Constitution says that, that's it, that's fine. Regardless as to what a court may say, or they may make a ruling and say it ought to go to referendum.
And just for the record, there is nowhere written that, say, the Privy Council has to make a ruling with our Constitution in one hand. So in other words, they don't have our Constitution sitting in front of them when they make these rulings. They just, I mean, I don't know. Am I just asking?
No, it's a good question. It is a good question. They ought to have it. They ought to have it. But the government of the Bahamas pays lip service to the Constitution. They don't take it seriously. All you do is watch the behavior of the government. Look how they're behaving now. When the man can tell me we are bound to a treaty. What kind of treaty? What does the treaty entail? You are bound by your Constitution, lock, stock, and barrel. And when you ignore your Constitution, you're treading on dangerous grounds, very dangerous ground. You could be swayed left, right, and center, up and down, east, west, north, and south.
Mhm.
That can happen. The Constitution is your real anchor for nation building. We don't seem to understand it. Our government doesn't seem to understand that. Now, the court has its role to play. The court does not make law. Do we understand that as Bahamians? So when I listen to them and I hear them make a ruling, that's not no law. That's a ruling. That's a decision. You can respect the decision. You can also disagree with the decision.
So in other words, the court is there pretty much to interpret the law.
To interpret, yes. They are there to interpret. If two people have a disagreement, then the court have to say, okay, fine, I gotta make a decision on this, that. But the decision ought to be based on law, not some figmentation in their head. Because see, then when you start doing that, we're gonna run into all kinds of problems,
Which we seem to be in now.
which we are right now today, on this blessed 30th day of January 2023. So the thing is that we will watch to see how they rule,
Mhm.
but I'm going to quadruple check every single one of those articles. But as I sit here now, I'm of the view that every single one of those articles can only be changed by a referendum.
Wow.
So once that is set in stone in the Constitution, then that's how it ought to go. It ought to go right to the people, and the people make a determination as to where they want to carry it. Because see, after all, we have to live here. Because see, even with these international agreements, see, the problem with our people is this. We always look to see what's happening in France, what's happening in Spain, what's happening in Argentina. Those people don't be checking for us when they decide to make a decision when it comes to their people. You mean check with the Bahamas, say what the Bahamas think about this or that. We aren't even making decisions based on local conditions that affect the people in Abaco, that affect the people in Kidd Island, that affect the people in Crooked Island, and even right in these constituencies like Centerville. Decisions that affect the people in Portman Castle, as opposed to decisions that affect the people in Mason's Addition, and the people further down south in Sunlight Village. You have unique communities where these people live, and we don't seem to understand that we have unique features in every single one of these communities where people live, and we need to make sound decisions and good judgments to improve the lives of those people. And when you look at these constituencies, years and years have gone by, and there has been no appreciable change in the lifestyles of those people, in the physical presentation of those communities. It's the same old foolishness. No real growth, no real advancement for the people in those constituencies. A lot of people tell, I don't see my MP. What you can do about it? The thing is, we need them to perform. I'm not interested in seeing them. Seeing them for what? We look at your performance. Have you solved any major constituency problems in your constituency? Yes or no? Because that's how we should be judging them. We judge a government based on whether it has solved any national problem. I ain't talking about what you're trying to do, because you have 56 years to do it. So trying is not good enough anymore. Have you solved any major problems nationally? And here are the clear-cut benefits that come to the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's the distinction. Whether we are moving forward or not, we're going into 51 years, 50 years now, and July the 10th, we start our 51st year. Where do we go now? Because we got to analyze what has happened over the last 50 years. We just can't sit back and say, oh, 50 years has passed, we just move it on. No. We got to analyze that, query and find out what the government of Bahamas has done, ask what the representatives have done over that 50-year span in each particular constituency.
Okay. Well, that is going to set the stage for the continuation of our journey through the Constitution. Again, my guest every Monday in these parts is Professor Sydney McArthur Walter Thompson, for those of you who are new here. And every Monday we go through the Constitution of the Bahamas. And so we are streaming live on Facebook, on the official Global 99.5 FM Facebook page, as well as the official Michelle Malcolm Facebook page. The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and you can also send us a message via WhatsApp 8010271, 8010271. Let's take a break. On the other side of the break, we are going to dive into the Constitution. When we last stopped, we, I think, completed Article 11.2, so now we're going to turn our attention to Article 12. That's on the other side of the break. Stay with us. This is GPS on a Masterclass Monday of the Constitution of the Bahamas.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Last is love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with Professor Sydney McArthur Walter Thompson. We are going through the Constitution of the Bahamas line by line, article by article, and we are streaming live on Facebook. Check us out, official Global 99.5 FM Facebook page or the Michelle Malcolm official Facebook page. Telephone numbers call 3260271, 3260271 or 3260272, 3260272. You can also WhatsApp us. It's 801-0271, 801-0271. All right. Article 12 is where we find ourselves at in the Constitution, and I will go ahead and read Article 12. It says, and we're still dealing with citizenship. Any citizen of the Bahamas who has attained the age of 21 years and who, A, is also a citizen or national of any other country, or B, intends to become a citizen or national of any other country, shall be entitled to renounce his citizenship of the Bahamas by a declaration made and registered in such manner as may be prescribed, provided that A, in the case of a person who is not a citizen or national of any other country at the date of registration of his declaration or renunciation, if he does not become such a citizen or national within 6 months from the date of registration, he shall be deemed to have remained a citizen of the Bahamas, notwithstanding the making and registration of his declaration and renunciation. Or B, the right of any person to renounce his citizenship of the Bahamas during any period when the Bahamas is engaged in any war shall be subject to such exceptions or qualifications as may be prescribed in the interests of national security or public policy. So, That's a lot to break
That's
down.
a whole lot right up in there.
Yeah.
A whole lot.
Okay, so just to be clear, the pivotal age that we're talking about is
21.
21 years old.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'll read it again. Any citizen of the Bahamas who has attained the age of 21 and who is also a citizen of a national or national of any other country or intends to become a citizen or national of any other country. That is who this article applies to.
Right. So right there you have two categories of personality.
Right.
One who has dual citizenship, and one who has citizenship in the Bahamas, but that particular person intends to become a citizen of another country.
Okay. All right. So that's who we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about today.
Right. Now, they shall be entitled to renounce the citizenship of the Bahamas by a declaration made and registered in such manner as may be prescribed, provided that A, let's talk about A, in the case of a person who is not a citizen or a national of any other country at the date of the registration of his declaration of renunciation, if he does not become such a citizen or national, he shall be deemed to have remained a citizen of the Bahamas, notwithstanding the making and registration of his declaration of renunciation.
Good. Now let's stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
See, here is a person who has made a declaration, who has renounced his Bahamian citizenship.
Okay.
To go elsewhere.
Right.
See, what I like about this Constitution, it gives tremendous freedom to the citizen.
Mm-hmm.
He can, and he has a 6-month span. Even after he's done that, register it, put it in, renounce. He said, I go in elsewhere, I go in one of them other places.
Mm-hmm.
He has 6 months, Miss Malcolm. If he changes his mind, he may decide, boy, I want to leave the Bahamas. I can't do that. Yes, he renounced. Yes, he made the registration. But if he is not a citizen of that particular country within that 6-month period, it is deemed to be as if he never renounced his citizenship, in spite of the fact that he's made that renunciation and registration.
Right.
But then so what I'm saying is, see, the founding fathers really put a lot of thought into this, and I think
Talk closer to the microphone for me.
Oh,
there you go. I'm sure everybody hearing what you say.
Right. I believe that we have not given our founding fathers the kind of credit they ought to have for putting this document together.
Mm-hmm.
There are tremendous freedoms in that document.
Right.
Because here, after 6 months, a person who is not yet having received his citizenship from that other place.
Right.
He say he won't go. He doesn't give up his payments and says, boy, I announced it, I don't want that no more. Within 6 months down the road, that's half a year. He'd come back and say, boy, you know something, I want to leave the Bahamas, I ain't going to do that.
Right.
He is deemed to be a citizen of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, despite the fact that he has renounced it, he has registered it 6 months ago.
Okay. Now, so if it's 6 months and a day, what happens then?
See, the Constitution gives you timeline, right?
Right.
It says 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
See, the problem with our people is, when you look at all those articles related to citizenship, it gives you a timeline.
Okay.
Except the revocation by the Governor General.
Mm-hmm.
That's from July the 10th, 1973, straight through.
Okay.
There's no timeline on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get caught, then you just got to pay the price.
Right.
The point is, you will find that in every situation, there is a timeline. That's in the Constitution. It says 6 months. It ain't say 6 months and 2 days.
Right.
Or 6 months and 3 days. No, 6 months. But then once you have done it within that period of time, you're deemed to be a citizen of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, despite the fact, notwithstanding the fact that you already renounced your Bahamian citizenship, you ratified it, and you register it and say, no, I want nothing to do with y'all no more. I go in elsewhere. You see how beautiful that is?
So let me ask you something. Let's say you decide that you can go elsewhere, like you put it, right? And you put in the application out of the country. And then, for whatever reason, it's not processed right away in the other country, which could happen. Like it does here in the Bahamas, right? They take very long in the Bahamas to process these things.
Yeah.
So let's say that more than 6 months has passed, and you still haven't received confirmation from the other country that you are now a citizen of that country.
Yes.
But your 6 months has passed here.
Yes.
So where does that leave you?
I'm glad you asked that question.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I can answer you is constitutionally. Constitution says within 6 months. Now, you have an obligation. See, the obligation is on the citizen to deal with it according to law. See, we can't see, and this is another problem we have in this ratio. We don't seem to understand timelines. Mm-hmm. We don't understand law. We don't understand circumstances and situations. If we keep playing those funny games, we ain't have no country.
Right.
It says within 6 months, period. That's clearly spelled out in the Constitution. The Constitution is supreme. Not 6 months and 2 days, or 6 months and 3 hours. Come on. And this is the problem we have. That's why we have such slackness in this place. Oh, it only means 6 months. Maybe mean 12 months. And so we run into problems. Now, if there are delays or there are circumstances, I think it's the duty of that citizen to explain that to the authorities.
Right.
So a determination could be made. Mm-hmm. Because it may be a circumstance beyond your control. That's possible. But the Constitution says within 6 months, you have a timeline, and you ought to be conscious of the fact that the timeline is there. You just can't sit back and say, let it be.
Right.
You have an obligation. And see, this is where responsible citizenship comes into play. Okay. But too many of us simply sit back and expect things to fall in their lap without any effort on their part. Mm-hmm. You have an obligation to report to authorities, yes, I'm in this predicament, and allow the authorities to make a determination, a valid determination in regard to your situation. You don't do nothing about it. How do you expect people to know? There are circumstances that may be beyond your control. That's highly possible. Mm-hmm. But you do nothing about it. 6 months is plenty time. If they want you, they can say yes or no. And you have to let them know it's 6 months.
Right.
But you are negligent in your responsibility. And so when I look at all these articles on citizenship, it puts the responsibility on the particular personality who is applying for whatever that person is applying in regards to citizenship.
Right.
You just can't just let it run and say, I'll just wait. No. It doesn't go that way. And this is why the supreme law always takes precedence over any policy or any other law. That's why Article 2 is there. So if that person is caught in a rut, then that person should report that to the authorities so the authorities can make an adjustment, as the case may be. Mm-hmm. Because, the authorities can be reasonable. But the Constitution specifically says within 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, 12, how do I do this? 12, anyway, let me just read it. It says, referring to 12B, and remember now, 12B is the person intends to become a citizen or national of any other country.
Right. That's the one we were talking about just now.
Yeah. So 12B says, provided that the right of any person to renounce his citizenship of the Bahamas during any period when the Bahamas is engaged in any war.
Now that's a different situation.
Right.
Yeah.
shall be subject to such exceptions and qualifications as may be prescribed in the interest of national security and public policy. What
Right.
is that about? What's
Now,
going
what
on?
that means is the government of the day.
Mhm.
You apply at a time when the Bahamas is at war,
Right.
all right? In some confrontation with some other country, or the country is unstable.
Mhm.
And the authorities are concerned about other pressing situations, which would be bigger than your application in this particular case.
Okay.
So the government of the Bahamas will have to make a determination. That's why it's subject to such qualifications or exceptions as may be regarded by the authorities of the day. Your application will be subject to that. It doesn't mean you won't necessarily get it,
Mhm.
but there may be some delays on that, or it might be nullified for the time being.
So if that 6-month period happens in the time when a war is going on, there could be an exception made on your behalf once the war comes to an end, that they will still consider your situation
That
because
is
a
a
war is
possibility.
happening.
That is a possibility, yes, because it says the authorities have such qualifications, such exceptions as may be prescribed.
Okay.
So that means now a judgment could be made in that particular case. All right? Because of the fact that circumstances have changed. They're not in normal times anymore. And so the person is applying while there is a national crisis or some situation that the authorities may feel, listen, we have to concentrate on this. So the possibility exists that the time could be a delay.
I have a comment on Facebook that is coming from an interesting perspective. Let me read this to you. Candy Maurice says, because included in those founding fathers were individuals who were themselves born outside of the Bahamas and were nationals of other countries. And some also married women and men who were not Bahamian, born men or women. So those provisions that you speak of in the Constitution are sensitive to those situations that they themselves were in. So the founding fathers evidently had a sensitivity and a soft spot, so to speak, for situations such as these. How do you respond?
You know, Ms. Malcolm, I've heard remarks like that so many times in the past from persons. I don't want to look at it from a personal point of view. Well, they may have had some feelings, some emotions, and that's understandable, and the call has the right to that view.
Right.
So I'm not going to knock that either. If the Bahamian people feel very strongly that these articles that we have, or some of them that may not be suitable for 2023, the beauty of the document is we can change it. That's the thing. We can press to get it changed. So I hear those kind of remarks from people, and I'm sensitive to their remarks too, and I'm not going to denigrate those remarks in any way, because people have a right to their view, they have a right to their opinion. And I have no problem with that, because that's constitutional. And people are sensitive to certain things that touch them personally. Yes, a number of them are married women as well, not Bahamian.
Right.
That is true. And there may have been some sensitivity there in relation to what they felt and what they thought at that time. That is true. But the point is, number one, let me stress this to Bahamian people. Number one, this is what we have. This is what your Constitution says on a particular issue. That is final. Until we, the people, decide. We don't think this is relevant in 2023. We have to change it. And so the discussion has to be done by the Bahamian people, and they feel very strongly about it. It can be changed. You can put the kind of pressure, because see, the way our system operated, you work through your representative. You put enough pressure on your representative and constituents in all the other constituencies do that, you will get your change. No matter what they may say, don't worry about that. That change coming. Even if they don't do it, they'll be removed from office sooner than they think, because there are ways we can deal with that and have it done. Bahamians should not say, woe is me, because a particular representative or particular administration talk foolishness and nonsense. Because we've got plenty of that. And then all we do is grumble and complain. And I say, no, no, no. You have the power in your hand to change it. And I'm hoping that as a result of these lectures that we're doing, these classes, the people will come to see, yes, the power is with you, always has been with you, but you don't see what God has put in your hand. Irrespective of what an administration may say at any given time. This is why when I listen to them, a lot of things that they may say which I know are not constitutional, I just dismiss it. Because it means nothing. It's just a view by that particular grouping or a particular personality. That's all that is. And they have a right to that view. The Constitution allows for that. But if the Bahamian people want real change and say, no, we don't like this particular article in the Constitution, they can get it changed. Irrespective of what the government may say at any given time. Like how this one now, this one don't want a referendum, you know. This one that we got now, this Christian, no, not Christian. The Davis administration. Now they talk about the Davis-Cooper. There's no such thing as no Davis-Cooper administration. That's nonsense. The Davis administration, that's the prime minister, didn't want no referendum. Now he said he's going to go by the rule in the Privy Council. Fine, you go by the rule in the Privy Council. The Bahamian people may have something else to say about that. But the point is, you could find the government of the day is at odds with the citizenry of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And I think we can find a lot of that happening now because things are shaping up for that. All you do is look at this problem with the illegal immigrants in this country and see how the government of the Bahamas is handling it. And I've seen some other articles when you get into 14. You're going to see some interesting things there. And I was going over the other night and said, wow, truly, we do not know our Constitution is not good. Because we're allowing a lot of crappy things which are totally contrary to this supreme law. And the better people know it, the better you can correct a government, you can correct your representative and say, no, sir, no, man, that is not right. That's not constitutional. You got 150,000 of them saying it. They ain't got no choice.
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right, so this article 12 begins by saying any citizen of the Bahamas who has attained the age 21 years old and who, and then it goes on to describe the conditions that we're talking about.
Yes.
Why is it specifying any citizen? Does that why do you think it was important for that term any citizen to be placed in there?
That's interesting that you asked that question. To be honest with you, Malcolm, I am not quite sure, except to say that maybe they were looking at some persons who may not be willing to push it, or some people who might be willing to push it. But any citizen means anyone who is a citizen of the Bahamas.
In other words, it doesn't matter how you attain that citizenship, as long as you're a citizen, it applied to you.
Yes, it does. As long, because you can see from the articles of citizenship how there are different ways people have become citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. When we come to some other interesting thing, when we go further into the Constitution. Okay, so what I'm saying is, yes, any citizen, once that person has gotten it legally, and it's according to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, fine. Because there are different categories the way how people can apply and become citizens of the country. And so they are all citizens, equally citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And here's the interesting thing about that. They all have the same exact, precise, identical rights, freedoms, and privileges. The fellow get his own this morning, 9 o'clock, and I had my own from July the 10th, 1973.
Right.
You know, equal to me, you know. He just got his own 9 o'clock this morning. But he got the same rights what I got.
Right.
Now, we may wish to look at that at some point down the road, but he is a citizen equal to what I have. Said I have mine from day one. That's how it is.
Okay. No, it's an important point to
No,
make.
it's a very important point. So that's why I'm saying that, Ms. Malcolm, when I'm doing my research on the Constitution, because I've studied it well, and Ms. Malcolm, I take nothing for granted. See, by being the supreme law, every phrase, every word, every sentence, every paragraph, one word, Ms. Malcolm, can make the difference.
Right.
One word. Remember, I told you the phrase, any woman? And we were discussing that some time ago.
Right.
Okay. Now, you got some people who got some other ideas in their head. It may challenge it. At some point down the road, they have a right to challenge it. But I am saying that we who are citizens of this country need to understand that the document is 50 years old, and there are some things in there that we need to look at very carefully. Now, the Constitution is always right. I'm not going to change from that, because anything that's supreme is always right. You can't get it better than that. Now, there may be some things in it that the people may disagree with now. They see things differently. Fine. They have a right to change it. And they should not be afraid to express their views, express their concerns, so we can get things done. I may have some concerns myself, but I got to keep them personal now, because I ain't going into that. But when I speak on the Constitution, I tell people there are no easy answers to constitutional questions. Some of them are very difficult to answer. And sometimes I got to think, even though I've been studying it all these many years, I say, you know something? That's a good, when you hear me say that's a good point you brought forth. That's what I'm thinking now. Because I don't want to mislead the Bahamian people in any way, shape, or form. Unless I know for certain that's what it is, that's what it is, and I will not budge on that. Now, if I am not sure, I will say, no, I'm not quite sure. I need to go back and check that. Because right now, Ms. Malcolm, we got all kind of confusion in public. All kind of confusion. I am not going to add to it. It doesn't help the average citizen out there who is struggling to try to understand sense of what's happening in this country, what's happening to the government, what's happening to our representatives, what's happening to the laws of this place. Are we losing the Bahamas? One fellow told me on the bus on Saturday when I was going to church, say, Professor, you mean to tell me I got to wait until my grandchildren become adults to do this? I said, no, sir. No, sir. I said, we have been changing administrations in this country from 1729 right on to 2021 without firing one single shot. Nobody was killed. I think we're the only country in this part of the world that has that kind of record. We want to keep it that way. But there are those who are trying to push us to go after them fellas, who have a disturbing trend in their political history. The Bahamas is the only nation that has it. Even the great United States don't have it. And we don't even understand how important that is to our stability as a nation. We're talking about picking a Bahamas. The only thing you pick up is the Holy Bible and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. That's all you need. Once you have those two, you straight. Don't mind what them other fellas say, because that's just talk. We are going to be confused if we continue to fool around with things that have no value, distractions. Ms. Malcolm, all we got today as I speak to you, distractions. People are being distracted from the real issue. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is the document that we ought to be going by, not some other things. Mind, we may look at what some other people are doing, they set some good examples, fine, no problem. But we shouldn't hang our hat on that. We are bound to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, not something what them as well as write and say, you got to go by this. Because we don't have to. We could say, no, we don't agree with it. But in too many cases, the Bahamian people don't know. Because some people, they signed it up and say, we got to go by this. And I hear the ministers are saying, we have to do this. We don't have to do it. Particularly if it is contrary to Article 2 of your Constitution. It can't be.
Well, that's why the Bible says when people perish for a lack
But
of
I don't
knowledge.
know. Yes,
you don't
I
know,
don't
you
do it.
don't know.
Boy, it's terrible.
All right, let's go to a break. Elroy Mackey says, it's time for you Bahamians to run your government and look out for the Bahamian people.
That's an excellent comment there. I love that.
All right, we're going to take a break. On the other side of the break, we're going to continue the conversation with Professor Sydney McArthur Walter Thompson on this Masterclass Monday as we dive deeper into the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Be sure to stick around. Call a friend, let them know that GPS is on the air, and we all need to be learning what's in this document. Stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Track Life, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM, streaming live on Facebook at the official Global 99.5 FM Facebook page or the Michelle Malcolm official Facebook page. Telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, or 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line 8010271, 8010271. My guest of honor today and every Monday is Professor Sydney McArthur Walter Thompson, who is a resident expert on the Constitution of the Bahamas. And every Monday we do what we call Masterclass Monday, where we dive deep into the Constitution to help you to better understand what is the supreme law of the land. Because if you don't know it, then, they could tell you anything. Tell you anything.
Anything.
And you going right along with it because you ain't know no better.
I don't know better, yes. And we cannot, after 50 years, stay in that kind of condition.
Mm-hmm.
We have to grow up. And I'm delighted to see that the masses are showing that great interest in the Constitution. That really presses me on. I gotta be more studious. I gotta be more zealous. I have to be more precise in what I do, what I say, because I don't want to mislead people while they're awakening up. I want them to get stronger, because the stronger they become with this knowledge and understanding, the better for the country.
So here's another comment from Candy. Maybe you want to respond to this before we dive back into the actual Constitution itself. Candy Murray says, I'm sure that the goodly professor would also recognize that given the historical social events in the Bahamas in the 1950s, particularly with the relationship with Haiti and the official migration of Caribbean nationals to the Bahamas, given these events, the problem which we now face is clearly complex. We have had at the highest level of our system of governance, for example, the case of the position of Governor General. Several parliamentarians and senior public officers at the highest, and can't be your message is too long, that's where it ended. So I'm not sure what the point that you were trying to make beyond that, Candy. Maybe you want to take the rest of it and put that as a separate message so we can get the rest of your message. But I think what Candy is trying to say, that you have people in very, very high positions who had a special interest in the way that this was worded because of their heritage.
You mean the wording of the Constitution?
Yeah, I think that's where she was going with this, yeah.
Okay.
In certain aspects of, like the article that we just covered, Article 12. So, again, Candy, that message was too long. You got to keep in mind that after a certain time, Facebook is going to cut it off, and we won't be able to get the full thing in there.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to understand what she's saying up at this point. Is she saying, I don't quite get it clear. I just want to make sure before I comment on it.
Well, what I read is as far as it went. So I can't tell you anything more than that.
Maybe you can say it again then.
Or call in, Candy, if you can.
Yeah,
Telephone number is 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. Those are the two numbers to call. Listen, just because we go through this Constitution, don't mean we don't want to hear from y'all, I mean, I know that he bringing a lot of good information, but a part of what makes the show successful is the interaction with our audience.
Yes, it is. And then I want to say this, Amy, because there's nothing to be afraid of. In this country, we have tremendous freedom. Mm-hmm. That's because of the work of our mothers and fathers. Don't mind the noise from political personalities who may be in the house and out of the house. That doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
They have a right to their view.
Right.
And the thing is, as long as you stand on the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and the Holy Bible,
mm-hmm.
you're straight. They will have nothing against you. They may come up with arguments, fine, don't worry about that. That's all in life. You will have people that will say things for you, that will say things against you. I'm not moved by that at all. If you're not constitutionally sound, It's negative. Nothing.
We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, I'd like to ask Professor Sydney Thompson a question.
Yes, sir.
This may not pertain to the Constitution, but in regards to persons who would have obtained citizenship or some status here in the Bahamas through diplomatic means, not through birth. What is the consequences for someone who is disloyal, who shows blatant disloyalty to the country? That's the question I like to ask.
I hear the question, but did he mention something before about who obtains citizenship through diplomatic means? Is that what he's saying? Did he say that? Did I get that caller? I want to make sure that I.
Yeah, I mean, and what I mean is the people, Bahamian, the way we say it in local times, the people Bahamian.
Okay, all right. Okay.
What are the consequences for them being disloyal to the flag, to the country, to the nationals of the country?
That's a good question that you asked. The Constitution answers that question, revocation.
So I guess a lot of people don't know that there's a consequence.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, but they come on the radio every day, lambasting everything Bahamian, and they're not even, a real Bahamian.
You know something? Once, and this would apply to anyone. That's why when you ask me who can do this, when we were dealing with revocation, because it has to go before the Governor General. The Governor General has to be satisfied that something is wrong. We have to present the facts to him. And if this caller has facts, I'd like him to talk to me. I'd love to get into something like that. I'm a constitutional fellow. I would like to see some revocations in this country for persons who are disloyal to the Commonwealth, to the Bahamas, having them here creating problems.
But that's the challenge, Professor, because how do you define disloyal? Like, I can have an opinion, and you may say my opinion is disloyal, but that's just my opinion.
No, but that's fine.
So what is the legality of
the Constitution?
How is that defined?
Professor, I'll hang up on this.
Yeah, well, thank you very much before.
But I know where to find you, and we definitely will discuss that.
All right.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
The thing is, he uses the word disloyal.
Mm-hmm.
The Constitution is very specific when it comes to revocation of citizenship.
Right.
And I'm not thinking he's wrong by saying a person being disloyal, because that's what it amounts to.
Mm-hmm.
Persons who are doing some things that are contrary to the national interest of the Bahamian people.
How is that defined legally? Because somebody could argue that I get up on a show and I say, I have a problem with this, that, and the next. And they say, oh, by saying that, you're being disloyal to the country.
No, a person can have a point of view. That's one thing.
Uh-huh.
Now, what you are doing, which may be harmful to the country, that's another thing, Ms. Malcolm.
Okay.
Anything that is harmful to the interests of the Bahamian people, because some things that happen, in this country, which put the entire nation in a very dangerous position. One particular individual did it. And it was not even recognized by the then Commissioner of Police. Didn't see it. That's how dense he was when he dealt with the matter. Couldn't see it. When you don't know and you don't understand what people are doing right in your face, and you say the person didn't commit a criminal offense, come on, what are you saying? When it's right in your face, Ms. Malcolm, it is clearly evident what the individual did was contrary to the national interest of this country. But yet the person got scot-off free. Okay. Then you have some others now who want to do the same crap and expect to get scot-off free. I'm happy that person called in, and I hope they call me so I could talk to him some more. The point is, we need people, and I'm going to say this publicly, we need people who, if you have information, solid information, you call Professor Sydney McArthur Walter Thompson. See, I want to see it. I want to test it. I want to prove it. And I know I'm constitutionally sound. And anyone who knows me, I ain't budget when it comes to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, because that's supreme law. We have revocation of citizenship, and that's why you have several articles to speak to it. But the Governor General, according to the supreme law, has to be satisfied that that is so before he can issue an order for revocation. But anyone has the power to do that. So we got to bring it to his attention. He wouldn't know unless you bring it to his attention so he could consider it. And he will have his advisors look into it and check it out, I guess. But see, if we have information, we know this person is a danger to national security of the country, we can keep our mouth shut. All we do is quietly get the facts, get the evidence, get the proof. You know, all this technology around here. Even you breathe, they got it on the phone. Huh? Come on. That's why when I say anything publicly, I don't mind what they do with it. They can record it. Because I know what I'm saying. I don't have no regrets, Ms. Malcolm, when I come on this radio and I speak publicly about the Constitution. They can quote me, I ain't got no problem with that. But you gotta know yourself. Don't talk crap now. That's foolishness.
Okay, Candy is clarifying what she was trying to say. Candy says, what I am saying is that Haitian and other Caribbeans who were officially born here have generations of families in the Bahamas. Are they thinking that we can solve the problem easily? It's not so. This problem is complex.
That's what she's saying?
Yeah.
Okay, in our mind, it's complex. When you look at it constitutionally, and if the government of the Bahamas and the people of the Bahamas are looking at it constitutionally, it's a different situation altogether. It may not be as complex as you may think it is. So I can understand how looking at it that way. See, the problem with us is we like to keep worrying about what them other fellas doing. I'm not in, see, the Bahamas was not set up to solve Haiti's problems, you know. The Bahamas were not set up to solve Cuba's problems. The Bahamas is for Bahamians. The government of the Bahamas has a responsibility to who? Not Cuba, not Haiti, not these other foreign countries, but to the Bahamian people. That's what we need to understand. Now, it does not mean that we shouldn't have friendly relations with them, but we need to concentrate on our own business. Because we get so much involved in what others are doing, we aren't even thinking clearly when it comes to our own unique situations in Andros, in Crooked Island. And this island just right there 50 years later. Where is the Bahamian development? Where is the Bahamian ingenuity? You say we're resilient people. Okay, fine, we're resilient. To what extent are we prepared to put the kind of effort to build a Bahamas that is under the control of the Bahamian people? Not the foreign now. We can work with them, but here's a point, Ms. Malcolm, where we got a situation where they are overbearing in this country. And that nonsense has to come to an end. We have to do something about that. And we can. We can do something about it. Even after 50 years, we can do something about it. We need to choose wisely when it comes to sending people to the House of Assembly. See, that's going to take a whole show on something else. Because, see, I'm going to go very specific, very clear as to about parliamentary representation in this country, because there are a number of articles that deal with that. I have to put that all together, explain that to the people so they can understand.
To Candy's point, and Candy's agreeing, saying, yes, Professor, you are very right. But to Candy's point, this thing goes so far back, this goes so deep. Can we realistically, I hear some people saying, oh, we should change our constitution to only allow what they're calling organic Bahamians to serve in parliament or to serve as prime minister. How do you determine that when this thing goes so far back?
But let's put it this way. Under the Constitution as it stands now, the fellow got his citizenship 9 o'clock this morning.
Right.
I got mine July the 10th, 1973. So I'm 50 years ahead of him, right? We got the same rights that I have.
Exactly.
That's in the Constitution. Now, if we don't want it to be like that, we want to put limits on him because he is now a citizen by naturalization. But then we have to fix that because there's nothing in the Constitution that prevents that. See, so the founding fathers might not have thought about it as deeply as we're looking at it today. They could not see some of the issues that we affected 50 years later.
Right.
So now we can put limits on them. Say, listen, you know something? You're naturalized. You can't sit in the House of Assembly. You can't sit in the Senate. You cannot be a permanent secretary. You put limits on them. That's what you have to do. But right now, the whole thing is wide open. You say, you want to run in the next election. You just become a citizen. Huh? There's no time limit to say you have to be a citizen for 50 years before you can run.
I see certain activists have called for persons who may have fallen into that category to form their own political party and get actively involved in politics.
But let's put it like this. This is where I have a problem with the authorities in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You are giving people citizenship in this country. Do you know where they stand? Are they faithful and loyal? Have they proven themselves to be faithful and loyal to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? Because there has to be a testing period, Ms. Malcolm. You just can't just write people.
You would think.
But okay, you would think. Okay, fine. That's good. I'm glad you put that in. You don't just sit up and write some words on a piece of paper and hand it to the fellow and say you're a citizen. That would be a terrorist. Ready to get his foot in the door. Now the citizenship can be revoked. But why go through all of that to revoke it when you could prevent it in the first place? Once the damage has been done. You can wait till the damage is done. So what has to happen now is we have to start looking at the citizenship articles. So you know something? We have to make some changes. And I'm not going to disagree that changes should not be made. But I think we need to understand the Constitution itself so we will know where we are now, what is being allowed, even what we have in our hand we're not using to our advantage to bring about some other things that could bring changes to this country. We have to see what we have.
And then in the United States, we often hear about this amendment and the next amendment. So clearly, when it came to their constitution, they have had several times to make amendments to their constitution.
Right.
You often hear people say, I plead the fifth.
They
even say that here in the Bahamas, I plead the fifth. And they really don't realize that's an American thing.
American thing,
Fifth Amendment to their constitution.
That's true, yeah.
But here in the Bahamas, in order for us to amend our constitution, is it absolutely necessary that every amendment has to go through referendum?
Most of the amendments, yes. I'm happy they set it up like that. You know why?
What?
Because then the government of the day has to go to the people. Now, with the Attorney General office, when they gave that nice comfortable position to that fellow who was director of public prosecution, somebody asked me, say, Professor, was that right? They said, yes, it was right. They created a comfortable position with this particular personality, who is not independent. Let me just put that in there. Although the people were saying he's an independent director of public prosecution, no such thing. You check the Constitution itself. What they brought up, the people ain't had nothing to do with it, you know. Just them people in the House of Assembly and Senate. They cooked that up among themselves. But they have the legal authority to so do. So I didn't complain about it because I knew it was constitutional all along. Now I might agree with what they did and the way I think about it, but that's a different matter. That's a different kind of thing. The fact is that the changing of the article relating to Attorney General, they didn't have to go to a referendum. This administration today isn't interested in going to a referendum. That's clearly told by us. And many people need to wake up to that. This Davis administration is not interested in any referendum. Don't mind what the Attorney General say. That's him. The real fella is the power broker who is the Prime Minister. So when you hear him say something, oh yeah, that's the government thinking, talking. It's not just him individually. That's the government's view. They don't want no referendum. Now the Bahamian people could do something about that. We got an administration that is not interested in dealing with referendums, and we have to have referendums in this country in order to change the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
You sure about that?
Yes, we do.
You sure about that?
Yes, ma'am.
I remember a particular leader saying that I may have to do some things that go against your Constitution.
I am glad you heard that, and I heard it too. But what do we do about it? What do we do about it?
I don't know, Professor. What did we do? You say it. You say it.
I am going to say we did nothing.
Mm.
See, Article 24.1. Let's give me a point here to explain this to Bahamians.
Mm-hmm.
Bahamians, listen carefully. Article 24.1 talks about you protecting your interests. Do you have any interest to protect? For your children, for yourself, for your wife, for your family members? Do you have anything to protect? Are you interested in working in cooperation with people in your community, your constituency? Because see, this is how the system is set up, you know. It talks about constituencies. That's a constitutional word. And in order to bring change in a given constituency, you need the constituents in that particular constituency. I always say 51% or more of them becoming righteous in their dealings one with another. You got to tell the fellow who is living there, ain't on the register, listen, man, you got to be a registered constituent. Because if they ain't registered, they can't help you. Don't mind all the talk they got. They got plenty talking about, but they ain't registered. You got to check the list and say who is registered. See, that's the first step. Then they have to start communicating what is common to all of us in that given constituency. What is it we want? Do we have a master plan for the constituency? There are no master plans for any of these constituencies. They're waiting for the MP. You were supposed to tell the MP what it is that you want to see in your constituency. Don't wait for him to tell you. It doesn't work that way. We are the constituents. Do we have anything to protect the interests of our lives, the interests of our children, the protection from criminal activity? We have some areas that are blinded with crime, and people live in fear. They want to talk to them fellas across the road. So, Ms. Malcolm, it's kind of difficult, and I tell people, if you're in short, if you call Professor Thompson, say I got 50 years plus experience in this kind of thing. I know them. I know the Bahamian people. Just don't get personal with them. And see, a fellow like me, they tell me all kinds of personal things. I don't even ask them nothing, you know. But they just lay it on me. They can lay it on Professor Thompson. But they ain't talking. But Ms. Malcolm, you have to listen to them. They got some problems. But Bahamians, we got to solve the problems now. You ain't sure how to organize. You call Professor Sydney McArthur Walter Thompson. I'll be delighted to come in your constituency and talk to your people and show you how to organize according to Article 24.1. And a lot of people have heard me use Article 24.1 all the time. To the point that one fellow got vexed with me. So I always quote Article 24.1. That's Constitution. That's the only place in the document where it is. So what am I supposed to do? Talk foolishness and nonsense? I can't do that. I have to tell people the truth.
All right. Y'all have a job. Okay, we have to take a break. On the other side of the break, we're going to turn our attention to Article 13. This is Masterclass Monday, looking at the Constitution of the Bahamas with Professor Sydney McArthur Walter Thompson. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. Stay with us. We'll be back.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM, talking with Professor Sydney McArthur Walter Thompson on this Masterclass Monday on the Constitution of the Bahamas. And obviously, if you haven't already done so, like and share the show. We are streaming live on Facebook on the 99.5's official Facebook page or the Michelle Malcolm official page. Telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, or the WhatsApp line for text messages only, 8010271, 8010271. Please, please, please. Don't be shy if you have a question. This is the man to ask the question too. He can answer the questions for you if you call it in, or if you post it on Facebook, or send us a message on WhatsApp. Okay, let us now turn our attention to Article 13. So Article 13 of the Constitution of the Bahamas says, Parliament may make provision, A, for the acquisition of citizenship of the Bahamas by persons who do not become citizens of the Bahamas by virtue of the provisions of this chapter. B, for depriving of his citizenship of the Bahamas any person who is a citizen of the Bahamas otherwise than by virtue of paragraphs 1 or 2 of Article 3 or Article 6 or 8 of this Constitution is a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
And C, for the certification of citizenship of the Bahamas for persons who have acquired that citizenship and who desire such certification. So before we go back to 3 and 6 and 8, let's deal with Article 13A.
Yes.
It says Parliament may make provision for the acquisition of citizenship of the Bahamas by persons who do not become citizens of the Bahamas by virtue of the provisions of this chapter.
That's all right there.
Okay.
The chapter is what?
Chapter 13.
Chapter 2.
Oh, wait a minute.
Chapter 2 has 14 articles. There's a difference between chapter.
Oh, that's right, chapter, yes. It's
Yeah.
chapter 2,
No,
yes.
that's fine, that's fine.
Yes,
See, this is why I say that we have to pay attention to detail.
right.
Persons who do not ordinarily become citizens by virtue of chapter 2.
And chapter 2 include everything would be gone over.
You better believe it, and still some more to come.
Wow.
That's what it's talking about Parliament. So we got to understand the framework now. And then as you read further, it qualifies what Parliament can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are some specific things that are mentioned what Parliament can do. And then it comes to those articles when you continue to read on. Because see, there are certain things that perhaps the founding fathers thought, and it also talks about the revocation, citizenship, and Parliament has certain powers, but the powers are not widespread to the point where it could just do any and everything. Because I had to look, I had to study that very, very carefully. Say no. Yes, it says that at the beginning, but there are some very specific articles that you will read, and you finish, and you continue to read on, which point out what Parliament can deal with, and only those articles. No more, no less. And I think people need to understand that, because you can't let Parliament just do any and everything.
So when it says that Parliament may make provision, what does that mean exactly?
That is, it makes provision is a law.
Okay.
Okay. For a particular thing.
Okay.
It makes provision.
So in other words, it could make accommodations for this particular thing.
Yes, that is correct. For persons who may not necessarily qualify under this chapter, this is chapter 2.
Which
all
is
those
a
articles
long
right there.
chapter, because we still
Yes,
in
it
chapter
is.
2 after all
Yeah,
these
we still
things.
after all these things that may finish yet. Still got a little bit more to go. And the thing is that you find that it being set up that way. See, I'm trying to get people to understand that the founding fathers really put a lot of thought into this document, and I am disappointed, but maybe because they don't know. So I got to get back to that. They don't know, but that's fine. So I can accept they did not know. The founding fathers wanted to build a nation under God. They wanted to be free. To the Bahamian citizens who say, you know something, I won't stay here no more. I won't go and deal with them a little bit. I'll say you can go. You can come back to it if you want to. But see, these are wide-ranging things that are in the Constitution, which we don't pay much attention to. But a person like me, I pay attention because I studied the document. I know constitutional law. All I'm simply saying is that Parliament has certain restrictions on it as it relates to chapter 2.
So
you'll read on from there.
What I need to understand is this, because let's look at the 13A again. It says, Parliament may make provision, or like you say, certain consideration.
Yes.
For the acquisition of citizenship.
Acquiring of citizenship.
Right.
That's what it's in there.
of the Bahamas by persons who do not become citizens of the Bahamas by virtue of the provisions of this chapter.
That is correct, yes.
So could somebody then successfully argue that even though I may not qualify for citizenship based on everything that Chapter 2 has said so far, Parliament can still turn around and decide that they won't give me citizenship?
That's a good question that you asked, but you got to read further now.
Okay.
You see, because there are some articles that are very specific, and it lists those articles, and then we could go back and restudy those articles. We could go and maybe we'll have time in the show to do it. But we need to go back and visit them and look at it again. Because see, it's going to be based on those articles that the person would not have acquired citizenship.
Okay.
Because remember now, it says that, yes, that's a general statement that is made, but now things have to be qualified. Okay? Like, it talks about persons being able to do some things, or Parliament can do some things, but then there's certain qualifying standards that have been placed there for you to get where you're supposed to go.
Okay.
Same thing with Parliament.
Okay.
But you will read on.
And is that why 13B specifically speaks to paragraphs
1
and 2 of Article 3?
Yes.
Or
6.
Article 6 or 8?
Right. Now we got to go back and check what Article 1 and 3, 6 or 8 says for clarification.
Okay.
That's what we need to do. So once we understand what those articles are saying, and this is what I say to people all the time, you're going to find everything in one spot in the document. You're going to find that there's some other things that you have to go back to get clarification on. You're on 13 now? 13, yes. And that's where Parliament has the power to make certain acquisitions for persons who may not qualify. 1 and 3, 6 and 8. We'll have to go back and see what those articles say.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at this right now to see if we, how we.
So it would clarify what Article 13 is saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
it's
right,
all connected.
So let's go now to, let's see, Article 3, paragraphs 1 and 2. Let's see if we can get to it. If not, we'll just pick it up next week.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so hold on, I'm going back. So Article 3. Okay, there we go. Article 3.
3.1 and 3.2.
3.1 says, every person who, having been born in the former colony of the Bahama Islands, is on 9th July 1973 a citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies, shall become a citizen of the Bahamas on 10th July 1973.
Good.
That's Article 3.1.
Right, 3.2.
Article 3.2 says, every person who, having been born outside the former colony of the Bahama Islands, is on 9th July 1973 a citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies, shall, if his father becomes or would, but for his death have become a citizen of the Bahamas, in accordance with the provisions of the preceding paragraph, become a citizen of the Bahamas on 10th July 1973.
I'll stop right there. What's the preceding paragraph?
The preceding paragraph would be 3.1?
Yes.
Okay. I'll read it again.
Let's read it again. Yeah, that's important.
Every person who, having been born in the former colony of the Bahama Islands, is on 9th July 1973 a citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies, shall become a citizen of the Bahamas on 10th July 1973.
Yes. Now, 6 and 8, or 6 or 8.
Okay.
Let's look at those two.
All right. 6, I'm scrolling down.
6.
Okay, 6 says, every person born in the Bahamas after 9th July 1973 shall become a citizen of the Bahamas at the date of his birth, if at that date either of his parents is a citizen of the Bahamas.
Yes.
That's 6.
That's 6, right. Now 8.
8 says, a person born outside the Bahamas after 9th July 1973 shall become a citizen of the Bahamas at the date of his birth if at that date his father is a citizen of the Bahamas, otherwise than by virtue of this article or Article 3.2 of this Constitution.
Right. Now, see, we have to pull all that together so we can understand what Parliament can do in relation to personalities who would not ordinarily would have qualified under those conditions.
Okay.
See, so Parliament can deal with that because there could be some extenuating circumstances. So that's why the articles are listed that Parliament can make acquisition for such persons in those categories. Just those categories now, not the others.
Okay.
Just those, specifically right there. So read that part again where it says Parliament may.
That would be 13.
Yes, 13, yes.
Parliament may make provision, A, for the acquisition of citizenship of the Bahamas for persons who do not become citizens of the Bahamas by virtue of provisions of this chapter.
Right. Now, see, that part of the chapter is what? 3.1, 3.2, 6, and 8. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Now, read on further.
By depriving of his citizenship of the Bahamas any persons who is a citizen of the Bahamas otherwise than by virtue of paragraphs 1 or 2 of Article 3,
yes,
or Article 6 or 8 of this Constitution, or for the certification of citizenship of the Bahamas for persons who have acquired that citizenship who desire such certification.
Right. Now, that's a different matter right in there, that third part that you mentioned. Right. Certification of persons who require it. See, Parliament can do those things based on the fact that they may not have been satisfied under those articles.
Okay.
So Parliament can make provisions for them under those conditions.
Okay.
That's what the law is saying.
Stick a pin in that. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Good afternoon to Professor.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, yes.
Michelle, I love today's topic because this is one of the national issues I reluctantly took up over the years in this country as it relates to how our forefathers or what their intentions was as relates, and when I say our forefathers, all the way back to the colonial masters and their granting of whatever our forefathers decided was in black and white. Now, a lot would argue what was given to what they came back with was given to them. It doesn't matter. The point is this. Let's deal with those who were born outside of this country, who our government in the last 49 years knew born outside this country. All right? It's clear that it says in Article 6, every person born in the Bahamas after the 9th of July, like you read, 1973, shall become a citizen of the Bahamas at the date of his birth, if at that date either of his parents is a citizen of the Bahamas. You see, that's for people who born outside of this country. Now, let's talk about those who born in the country. See, if you born in this country, in my understanding, Chapter 2, Article 3.2 says every person who having been born outside of the former colony of the Bahamas, islands on the 9th of July, okay? This is another one which speaks about born in outside of the Bahamas. But you see, this one says, let's read it. If his father becomes, or would have become, not that bad, every person who has been being born outside of the former colony of the Bahamas Islands is on the 9th of July, 1973, a citizen of the United Kingdom and colony. That's the place I'm trying to get to.
Right.
You see, for those who are born outside of this country, you have to be naturalized as a United Kingdom citizen. My politicians, let me get cut to the chase and get to what I really want to say. My politicians over the years have played with our nation's sovereignty, the lifeblood of our nation, with this, the same issue we're dealing with, and you have been dealing over the different shows, you and the professor, Thompson. So what am I saying in conclusion? Because I thought I was keeping you running over time too. 348. This is the 49th year. And the Bahamian government, especially those who run the country, all of them outside of Dr. Minnie, was a lawyer. So they knew, and I have to say it like this, because they knew their parents or some family member was from Haiti. So they would have studied this stuff from child, at least when they were young going to university. And when they were in university, they would have known and had to study it and would have studied it because it's a part of them. Now, they wouldn't have told no one they were studying it, but they had to know what the Haitian Constitution says about their birth. You see, you're missing the point here. The key things in this Constitution is speaking about, watch this, every person having been born. Watch this, that's chapter 2, article 3:1. 3:2 says every person having been born. Okay? 3:3 come back and say every person, and it will come right back to the United Kingdom and its colonies having been first a citizen under the British Nationality Act 1948. So these, my prime minister, I'm talking with you cabinet ministers, because the belt, what he's supposed to get, you're only a small, little bit smaller. Okay? So Michelle can't deal with this all day and she running out of time. So Bahamas, all I'm simply saying, this was planned. Now, the illegal immigration is, I told you all, is a couple stick because we deal with a couple different type of levels of this immigration mess. All right? And this is the message. I told you all, it's a stick. For those who are government, because you all may be making noise about the illegal ones, but Amos, no one helped Amos when he was making noise about the legal set. Those sets, we got money, we could build hotels. And course, your government goes stupid. And so if you let them do that and go stupid, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, when they let you make all time across the nation and take COVID-19 and tell us out of the ocean, come on.
Okay.
Anyway,
Right.
I'm closing right here.
Yeah.
The illegal immigration on the low level is because Bahamian people have some warriors that's speaking about taking back our country from people we don't know. Only our prime ministers know them. And that's why we can't erase no prime minister right now. We need to put all of them in. Okay? Anyway, so in closing, Michelle, and I see 2 seconds. The bottom line is this. Our leaders have to say, we have to say, to our leaders, enough is enough. Go tell that to America, Great Britain. So the little Haitian people with the little couple of dollars who are trying to save their life, a man will do anything to save his life. So I ain't really one of them people.
Okay.
I will give it the root who give it them the power.
Yeah, okay. Because that 2 seconds lasts almost 2 minutes. And we are running out of time. Professor, let me get your response to Amos and then we got to take our final break.
He rambled on a whole lot. See, you cannot explain the Constitution the way he's doing it. It's confusing to the average Bahamian. We've gone from article to article to article in depth on this show. We have to bring clarity to the people. I don't want to cast any aspersions on anybody. What is speculated about certain personalities, why they did this, why they did that. That's not constitutional. You're entitled to those views, but I'm not going to get into that. All I am saying is my responsibility is to educate the public honestly, truthfully, as to what the Constitution says. There are some things in Article 13 that the Constitution says Parliament can do. It is constitutionally sound if they do it. And so you cannot say that they're acting unconstitutionally. The articles are mentioned, 1 and 3, 6 or 8. It says that. And it has to do with persons who may have, for whatever reason, not gotten satisfaction under those articles. And this is where Parliament, they appeal to Parliament, they can deal with it. The Constitution allows for that to happen.
One more quick question before we go to our final break. What else may the Parliament do for such persons?
Parliament can look at their situation, and also they can make provision, as the law says, make provision for these people as it relates to our national security and public safety in this country. So the thing is that Parliament can act on their behalf because the law says that they can do it, but within certain constraints. They just can't do anything and everything willy-nilly. That's why the articles are specifically mentioned. These would be persons who would not ordinarily would have qualified, as it says under Chapter 2. Parliament can make provision for it.
Okay, let's take this break. On the other side, we're going to wrap things up. Stay with us. We'll be back after these words.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Youngevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Youngevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blasted love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Youngevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
All right. We are just about out of time. Our guest today and every Monday is Professor Sydney McArthur Walter Thompson on this Masterclass of the Constitution. Boy, we only have 3 minutes left in the show, but I guess in the last 3 minutes, something you said earlier about how we should be proud as a people, the fact that we have been able to affect change in our country without bloodshed. And
That's correct.
We should take that very seriously. And you mentioned even the great United States of America has had their history.
Yeah.
But you don't even have to go back that far. Just look at January 6th of last year.
Exactly, that's correct.
Where there was bloodshed.
Bloodshed, yes, and that rattled the democracy of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
That has never happened in the Bahamas. From 1729 right on through successive administration, we have been successfully able to change. And see, Bahamians don't give themselves this credit here.
Mm-hmm.
But the evidence is there. Well, we have been successfully changed one administration after another,
Mm-hmm.
without shedding one single drop of blood.
And we should seek to continue.
And we should seek to continue that. And I'm saying to the Bahamian people, we have something in our hand, the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, which empowers us to do some things we can do now to be able to get where we need to go so we can make some other changes. We just need to deal with the quality of the people we are sending to the House of Assembly and putting in the Senate and putting in the Cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to, and like I said, I'm going to have to really spend some serious time to explain to the Bahamian people from the Constitution all of the articles that relate to parliamentary democracy and how we have overlooked a lot of things which could be to our credit because we don't know our supreme law. It has been extremely detrimental to us over the last 56 years.
Well,
Not knowing this
Professor,
document.
I want to thank you once again because we're out of time. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate all the knowledge that you bring to our audience every Monday. But our time is gone. And so tomorrow, we're going to be doing something a little different. Tomorrow, we're going to be dealing with a very important mindset issue. We have a Bahamian author coming on who's going to shake things up, hopefully. And by the time you leave the show tomorrow, you'll be a different person. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good afternoon, everybody.
They're still confused with parliamentary democracy, parliamentary representation, and party representation. That has been defined by that reminds our listeners that the future